Saints Talk listeners, what's up? We back for another week of Saints Talk, the official podcast of NewOrleans.Football. Make sure you guys go to NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. Pick a tier that works best for you. It's a few different options there. Pick one, support the site, go there, be great. Get all the best and the most recent Saints news you can find anywhere. Make sure you guys follow Nick on Twitter too, because he breaking a lot of information there. So make sure you follow Nick at Nick_Underhill and follow the site Twitter at NODOT Football. All the articles are posted there. So yeah, just make sure you go there and subscribe, man. Pick a tier. Like I said, there's a few different options. Pick the one that works best for you. This week on the site, it was a bye week, obviously. So but he wrote about just some of the things that needs to change and get better with the team after the bye. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But make sure, like I said, make sure you go on the site and check it out. And Marcus Davenport returned. And what did that look like? What type of effect did he have on the defense? Is there a reason for optimism? Maybe not so much. So go check it out. It's pretty much everything you want there. The pies are posted there, the show notes, everything. There's Instagram account, NewOrleans.Football. You can follow there. YouTube, look up Nick Underhill. It's pretty much everywhere you want, man. Social media, Twitter, not Facebook, but we'll see. But Nick, what's up, man? What's up? The Saints are back from a bye. And we'll see how they play this week. How you doing, dude?
There's a Facebook page. It's just maybe a little neglected right now, but
it's pretty
yeah.
Yeah. It's nice. I know because I have control over it. And I know every once in a while I get a notification so and so likes Nick Underhill's like page. I'm like, yeah, that don't look for no content.
Yeah.
It's not coming anytime soon.
We'll get that going.
Yeah. But hey, just YouTube viewers. We have faces and maybe they're not the best, but you can see them as we record if you want to. So check it out.
All right.
All right. All right. So let's start. So the Saints are coming back from a bye. Let's start. Let's do a quick hit on both sides of the ball defensively, because I think that's an area where they need a little bit more work, just in my opinion. What area on that side of the ball do they need to improve on going forward? That's going to hold them back for what their goals are.
Defensively, I mean, I think that one's pretty obvious. I mean, it's the coverage. The coverage is the biggest issue on the team right now.
Yeah.
They got the pass rush going a little bit in this game, and I think Davenport made a big difference there. The 15 snaps he was out there.
Man.
But they're only going to go as far as the coverage goes. And if the coverage gets better, the pass rush gets better. They can't keep giving up 20-yard plays. They can't give up 2 passing touchdowns in the red zone every week, which they've done so far. It's just a lot of things in the secondary, and I think it all comes back to that. And I think coming out of the bye that it has to improve. Like, there's way too much talent. Talked about it on the last podcast, but that's issue number one,
right,
by far.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that it's crazy because that's supposed to be the strength of the team. And I would say they're by far the worst unit on the team.
Easy.
And yeah. And it's, it's one thing if guys are getting beat in like man coverage against good throws. Like, I didn't kill Marshawn for the throw that was made. I think Mike Williams caught that throw where Marshawn like barely missed it. It was like I think it was like when they were driving at the end of the game to trying to win it. Like, he was in tight man coverage. He got beat. It happens. It's the NFL. Good players make good plays, right? Mike Williams, he's a top 10 receiver. He's talented, just can't stay healthy. But when you see all the busted coverages, I think that's where you kind of draw the line. You say, okay, this is not acceptable for a team with the aspirations that they have. So I'm with you. I think it's the corners, it's the safeties. Hopefully Janoris Jenkins is back and, they can all play together, learn each other, get on the same page, stop busting coverages, etc. But I'm with you. I just think the back end, like I said, corners and safeties, it's just not good enough right now. And it's the biggest surprise, I would say, of the season thus far, because I expected that unit to be much better.
I think linebacker too is quietly an area of disappointment through the early portion of the season. I think, just really having one guy that's performing well isn't enough. I think getting Kiko back from the physically unable to perform list at some point will be good. they listed him as return to practice. I don't know if that's on the immediate horizon, but it's coming at some point. But they need to, at some point, they're playing a lot of safeties, but at some point when they need to lean on those linebackers in a game, like they need to have more than one guy that's going to be able to perform against the run. And, I thought Kiko played pretty good last year. I don't think it was, DeMario level or anything like that.
It doesn't need to be though, right?
Right. He was a welcome addition, and he would be, if he was playing like that now, he'd be the second best guy on the team. So if they can get him back, that would be that'd be a big deal for them. I think he's needed, like in a way. I think he's needed by this defense.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the rookie has been I think all the rookies maybe up to this point have been somewhat of a disappointment. Chalk it up to maybe them not being up to speed, maybe them not drafting the right guys, maybe the offseason, maybe lack of preparation, being able to have a preseason and guys getting up to speed and knowing what to do. And, there's a bunch of different reasons why it could be that way. There are rookies in the NFL now playing and having success. So, and every player is different. And, this team can afford to not play those guys. I think that's one thing that maybe separates these guys out from some other guys. But just as a whole, I think all those guys need to play better. I think we spoke about it on the last pod, but, you would like to see them maybe eventually like create a package for Bond. Something, right? Something. I remember, one of the coaches said he's with them at the end of the week, during pass rush drills. So maybe that's something they have planned for him. But yeah, Alonzo seems like if he's healthy, he would come in and instantly be the second guy if he returns to form, like he was last year. I mean, the guy's torn 3 ACL, so I'm guessing he kind of knows how to come back to be what he was. But I do agree there. How much optimism did the play from the defensive line in this last game give you? Do you think that's reason to say, okay, well, clean up a little bit on the back end, these guys can build up off of that, and there's maybe some hope, maybe for the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, because I think there's some talent on the defensive line. I don't know if this game's the one where you just go, okay, everything's cured. I think you still got to keep showing it before you buy back that confidence. But
yeah,
I mean, there's too much talent on that defensive line for them to continue to struggle the
secondary
way they did.
too, though. But
yeah, but
but go ahead.
Once we see the secondary click, I think that you'll start to look for further signs of that, and it's just like, okay, they figured something out, and there's things going well. I think that's how it is on the defensive line at this point. Getting Davenport back, like I said, he only played 15 pass rushing snaps, but look, I mean, he got doubled on 8 of them. He got
a lot of double teams,
and on those double teams, he got a hit, and then he created 4 pressures for other players, like through that attention he drew. One of which was a deep pass to Marshawn, and
he looks stronger this year. I mean, like I don't know what it is, but it's like he's getting through contact a lot better.
Maybe so. I mean, we'll see how he keeps going. But yeah, I thought he looked pretty dominant in this game in stretches at times. Yeah. But I mean, they slide the protection out. But he drew more double teams in this game than Cam. And I don't think that's going to be the approach every week. But if they can keep Cam that double percentage down around 25-30%, which is normal, which is what it is in a normal season, I think that's going to make a big difference for them. So him being out there is going to make a difference. If they're sliding the protection that way, other guys are getting better looks, and you got to account for him. And then if they aren't accounting for him, he's going to win more often than anybody else on the team. So him coming back is a big deal.
Yeah. And then you saw what happened. You saw the type of game Cam had. I think there's a direct correlation. Man, I sound like a broken record, but I always say it. I think they're a different team when he's on the field defensively. He just on that, he had this one play where he, you wrote about it, but this one play where he basically beat a double team and he saved a touchdown just by getting the pressure. A touchdown that probably would have been a game-winning throw, in my opinion. So just him being on the field, there's little things like this. And these things happened last season. There was times where if the Saints didn't get pressure, then they get beat for a big play. So just having a good D-line covers up a lot on the back end too. And, and vice versa. Maybe if guys are covering, then, guys are going to have a little bit more time to get pressure, which doesn't seem like it's going to has been the case thus far this year, but there's a lot more football left to play. But yeah, just having him back, I didn't expect him to look as good as he did the first game, but I think it's a good sign, that he is. And again, like you said, I think it just stops Cam from being double, like 40 to 45% of the time, which is, it's just hard to be effective that way. So offensively, what do you think is the biggest issue right now on the team?
It's weird to continue to talk about the offense the
They
way
putting
we
up
have.
points, right?
They're
Yeah,
scoring
it's
30 a
crazy.
game, and they look terrible. Like it's the two things don't go together. Like they're getting points, but they don't look
They
good.
don't look good. I don't know how to explain. Yeah, it's weird. Like they have these stretches where they're totally ineffective, and then they put up like 17 straight points. Right? It's insane.
But I mean, I guess the biggest issue would be just to have some fluidity to what they're
Mm-hmm.
doing,
Mm-hmm.
and just find a way to look normal. I think Mike's going to make a huge difference in that. When everything they're doing, even when they're moving the ball, it just doesn't look easy. Like it just doesn't. It looks like
That's a good way to put it.
there's an effort to everything, and
That's a good way to put it.
for years, offense was just easy. It was
Yeah.
just easy. It flew. It was easy, and now it
Yeah.
isn't. And every time they're completing a pass, it's just like you can hear like a grunt behind it almost. You know what I mean? It's just like it's
Don't
like
fumble or you made me caught it. It's like
yeah.
everything goes to third down. I need to see if that's a stat. Maybe it's just an odd thing, but it's like they're not getting as many first downs on second down or something. It just seems like everything is just a little off. So yeah, I'm with you. I think you saying that nothing looks easy, I think that is probably as well as you can state it.
Yeah, it's just so they need to get, and I think Mike's going to help a lot with that. I think he'll get the rhythm going of the offense. It's some quick passes. First down becomes a quick pass to Mike. Now second down's manageable, and it's just I think everything's going to look a little bit different. And
bring the slant, make slants great again.
Look, when you take that guy out of the offense, it's a huge deal, and it's not something that I don't think it was ever properly accounted for. I don't think it was ever.
You spoke about it like I'll give you credit. I mean,
we did, but I mean, like it's nobody deserves credit for saying, "Hey, Mike Thomas not being in the offense is a big deal."
But there was a notion like, okay, well, they got Emmanuel Sanders and Kamara, but yeah, that's fair though. That's fair. But you did like maybe it was private talks. I need to check and see where, but I know you were like, man, Mike is a really like this is like you lost 75% of your offense. Like, can we talk about that?
I mean, we did, but I mean, again, nobody deserves credit. Like that's a common sense point. Like, in the fact that there were like the conversations have been framed around like, oh, well, like Drew Brees is dying. Like, no, Drew Brees doesn't have a gun to fight the war with, and Emmanuel Sanders eventually showed up, and he looks good now. And I think they need to make a more of a conscious effort than ever since the Mike Thomas era began to include this other guy, because he's established himself. And I think you need to call plays specifically for him. And I don't know how much that was happening for other receivers. There was nobody really worthy of it the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that after the way he's established himself, I think that's something that you need to do. And that's going to make Mike better on a per snap basis. It might not make him better on a production basis, but I just think it makes the whole offense a whole lot better if you keep Emmanuel going the way he's going. And there's room for both those guys to eat. So
I agree.
You got to keep that going. But yeah, I mean, look, Mike is one of the 10 best players in the league, and then he leaves the offense, and it was just kind of like, what is going on with the Saints? Well, Mike Thomas ain't there. Like, what are we talking about?
Come on, that's fair. I do wonder like if he's going to be 100%. I think that's like something that's to be determined, right? Because I mean, they said 4-week injury, and that happened in week 1. So they played, how many games have they played without him? 4 games. Yeah, they played 5 games. Then they had a bye. So yeah, I mean, was it a 4-week or 4 to 6 week injury?
Well, I mean, high ankle sprains are usually 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. High ankle sprains.
Okay. So this is week 5 for him, I think. Then.
Yeah, I think him getting this extra time is important. When he went out, the whole thing was like, Mike's, and he's an extremely tough person. He's an extremely competitive person. He wants to beat the schedule. He doesn't want to miss time.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it was kind of talked about on the shorter end of it, but I mean, realistically, keeping him out for as long as possible, I think is a huge blessing in disguise. If you look at the way guys come back from high ankle sprains, like sometimes it's hard for them to get back to where they are. So I think the more time you take, the better off you're going to be.
The better off you are, yeah.
So, but I don't know if his game. It's a little bit like Christian McCaffrey having a high ankle sprain, I think is a little bit different than Mike having a high ankle sprain, just based on what their games are based on. I think Mike could continue to be extremely effective, even with a little bit of explosiveness taken away, just the way he knows how to use his body to shield and make catches.
He's a great route runner too. Yeah.
But if you get him back close to 100%, like obviously it's a much better situation, and this extra time I think is hugely beneficial.
Yeah, we got to get Benny out of there. Yeah, my man's not producing. Yeah, I do think he could be. He doesn't need to be 100%, but there are some in and out of the break routes that Mike runs.
Oh yeah, it matters, but I think you can shield it.
I think you can shield it. Yeah. One thing that I think that they need to do, I think they have to get 87 going. I think Cook has to. I think you got to start cooking, man. Like you guys got to look at the YouTube to see the Zeke I'm doing. Yeah, I think they got to get him going. I think he's if this offense is going to be as good as it can be, I think he's someone that has to be a part of it. It's weird. It's like what's going on where he's not getting open, right? And I don't want to say not getting open, but he's not getting touches, and he's he was hurt for a game too. So let's put that in there. But just in this offense, he seems like the type of guy that should be effective, and he fits this offense and he knows this offense now. So that's something that I would like to see, right? And you just think like with Mike back, Cook is a mismatch. Sanders is, he's becoming who we thought he was going to be, and was looking a little weird at the start, but it worked out. And with Alvin, it just seems like at some point, like on any given route, I would expect those guys to win one-on-one, right? I just think that would be the expectation. So I think coming out of the bye, like there's no reason, right? I don't see an excuse for the offense not to have more rhythm, right? Like you said, or look like they are in sync. I just think that's the expectations. Even if there's a difference between the offense putting up like 28 points and being in rhythm, and 30 points and it being like, a touchdown and then don't score again into the third quarter. So that's something that's something I think that helped them, is getting him involved. But I just think as a whole, figuring out how to use those guys all together is going to be something they got to deal with all season too. And I think with this first game back, maybe you want to get Mike back involved, right? Like kind of get him some touches. I totally understand that too.
I mean, Cook was pretty good week 1, and then 2 and 3. I don't know, the offense as a whole, like,
yeah.
And then he was okay. Like he didn't do much. Like would he have like a 37-yard touchdown or something? It was a longer.
Yeah, it was a longer 41.
So I mean, he had the score in this game. So that was kind of like one play dependent, his stat line or whatever. But he had like 50 yards. But yeah, I mean, overall, he needs to be a little bit more involved. But I think we're gonna quite possibly look back, and not just at the Saints, like the NFL as a whole, on these first 4 weeks, and be like, wow, that was like really weird. Most of that stuff's got to be thrown out. There's like 8 teams allowing. Well, coming into this week, there was like 8 teams allowing 30 points per game, which that isn't normal at all. I just think it's so weird right now that, and especially, I think this is especially true for the Saints, just with the way that their offensive production went early in the season. Yeah. I don't know if we can judge. I don't know. Like maybe Cook isn't playing as well as he did last year. Maybe there's a step back, but he did have a groin injury. The offense was a mess for 2 weeks. Yeah. So like, I'm going to give him a little bit of grace and see how it goes coming out of this. But yeah, I mean, we both expected him to be a guy that looked like somebody, maybe not necessarily did it, but looked like somebody that could produce 1,000 yards. I think it's fair to say he hasn't been that guy thus far, but we'll see how, coming out of this, I think the offense is going to look much, much different. And this is just kind of the preseason happened, and now like it's the regular season. And
that's a good point.
no more excuses like from this point forward. Like they need to be who they are.
Yeah, I'm with it. Yeah, I think they will. I think they will be better. I think the point about the first 4 games being, you kind of give it a little pass on it. I definitely can see that. I mean, defenses that you think are good, they'll give up. I think like Philly put up like 30 and 30 against the Ravens and the Steelers. And that Philly, they have no run game. They have no O-line, and they have no wide receivers, and they have no tight ends. And they put up 30 against the Ravens, right? And then they put up 20. I don't know. They put 30 against each team or close. And I'm with you. I just think the season is weird. And maybe guys are just, if guys are used to having like those 4 games in the preseason to kind of, maybe not 4, maybe only play 3, but just to get used to it in OTAs and all that other stuff in a regular training camp. When you throw that off, I think it's fair to expect maybe some regression, but at some point you got to get back to playing some football. So,
I mean, there's a case to be made for Tampa Bay and their borderline illegal training camps during the summer.
Man,
they're the only team with a good defense right now. I don't even know if the defense got together, but
man, I need to. Yeah, we should have been snitching, man. We can't have that around here. I can't play. You can't play, buddy.
They just let them go, man. They knew. That was all over the place.
The NFL wants them to be good, and I think, hey, look, man, your boy Grunk had a decent game last game. So, all right. So, Panthers coming up this week. No McCaffrey. What are you expecting from Teddy? All right, that's the Teddy revenge game.
He's been pretty solid so
he
far.
Has.
Yeah,
he has.
He's managed it well. The connection to Robbie Anderson's been pretty good.
You like Robbie. I remember you wrote the article about him.
I am. And look, he was a fit. Like the former Saints wide receiver coach was the OC in New York.
Was it Morton? Joe Morton? I think John. Yeah, but go ahead.
So he had a good season there under him. So, he's back under that tree, so to speak, at this point. So I don't think that's a huge surprise there. Being without McCaffrey hasn't really mattered. I thought that was going to matter a whole lot more for them.
Yeah, that has not mattered at all.
to a shocking level. But yeah, I mean, I think Teddy's probably even played a little bit better than I expected him to play early in the season. And again, defense has been a mess, so we'll see if that carries on through the whole season. But I don't know if he's currently on it, but at some point, within the last 2 weeks, I saw that he was on a 5,000 yard pace, which is outrageous. Who would think that for him? So
yeah, Teddy throwing more than Drew.
he's doing a good job, man. He's really doing a good job of running that offense. And
he is. Yeah.
So good for him. That's a good.
And the run game has helped him. I mean, Mike Davis looks like first round pick or something. And I just watched a little bit. I'm like, who's this? I had to check him out. I was like, oh, this guy's been around on a few teams, and So look, I do think Teddy. I think Teddy's played well. I think being in that offense in the same system, being under that tree, I think it's helped him. I think Robbie Anderson. I thought he was a good player. I didn't think that he would, be this good for this team that early. So that was a good pickup for him. So I'm a little, when I look at this game and I say what worries me, I think everything starts with the Saints' ability to cover their receivers, right? They use Curtis Samuel. He's been more effective this year. I think it took him 3 years to kind of figure it out. I think this is his third year. I can check, but he's someone that can be schemed and mismatched in kind of using creative ways. Moore is a good receiver still, right? The first round pick from I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, and then Anderson, and so they don't really have tight ends, I don't think. But I just want to know I just need to see if the struggling secondary can do anything about those guys on the outside. So, and I didn't know if Teddy could get them the ball. I'll be honest with you. That was something I was kind of interested in seeing, and I think he's done a fairly good job at that. So, yeah, I just think on the offensive side of the ball for Carolina, I think that's where the concern is.
First of all, they got Chris Manhertz at tight end, so don't disrespect the.
Oh man, my bad. Former Saint, my bad, Chris.
Look, man, he's coming into year 7 in the league. Believe it or not.
Really?
I think he's been in the league since 14. He broke him with Buffalo, and he's still in the league. So credit to him, man. He's pieced together a nice career, some longevity, and he's a good blocker. It's surprising being a former basketball player. You'd think that he'd be a better receiving tight end, but he's a really good blocking tight end.
Drafted 2015, undrafted free agent. So yeah, 5 going on 6 years, not drafted.
So yeah. he's had a good little career, man. So
yeah, you got to get that to him.
So credit to him. In correcting myself, Teddy's on pace for 4,400 yards, which is a little bit different than 5,000. But at one point, he was on a 5,000 yard pace. Yeah, he's done well. He's managed it well, and I'm still not in the camp though that
they should have kept Teddy here. Yeah, no, it's not. That's no.
I still don't think that you should have pushed Breeze out for Bridgewater. I still think that, long term, you can potentially find someone with a little bit more. Look, man, the thing I'll say, like, and he's such a hot button topic. It's like basically like talking about like, Republicans and Democrats, the economy versus health. Like it's like Taysom is that, dividing point for Saints fans.
Yeah.
And I understand anybody that doesn't believe in it. I don't know what I believe yet because I don't see what they see. So, but look,
you're just sure if you're not sure if humans are responsible for climate change. You just don't. All right, no more politics for the rest of the podcast. Look, there we go.
They saw Taysom, they saw Teddy, and they paid Taysom.
They paid one guy and didn't. Yeah, I mean that's a good point.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward.
I don't know if Teddy. I think Teddy. I don't know if Teddy would have stayed.
Well, they could have. Look, man, if he was.
I don't know if they would have stayed. I think Teddy was out of there.
Yeah, but at some point, like if it's the guy, like, all right, man, you're like,
if he's the guy, then you tell Drew.
Yeah, Drew, you had a good run.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if he's the guy, I think you tell Drew that he's not. I mean, that's I hate to say this, but you just. I mean, he's already like leaning toward not coming back. So you'd have just said, "Hey, man, I know you're leaning this way. We're going to go."
Yeah, we're going with Teddy. Like, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it was already
play for Tampa Bay.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, if Drew left, they were going to sign Tom. Tom was waiting to see what happened with the Saints.
Right. So I mean, there was multiple options ahead of
Teddy.
And look, history will tell if it was the right decision or not. Like, if Teddy becomes like a lights out quarterback, like.
That's a big L
beyond.
Right there.
It's not beyond like the you can do some hindsight analysis here, and it's not like there are a lot of options.
That'd be bad because you missed out on Mahomes.
Right,
man, you have to like give free therapy lessons to the entire.
But I think based on how he played last year in those 5 games,
you got to let him out of there.
Yeah, I mean, look, they won 5 games. I don't know if they won 5 games because of him. I think he's probably playing better now. Than he did for the Saints, and good for him. Like he's a solid quarterback.
Here's what I'll say: when Teddy went to the Carolina Panthers, like I didn't see anyone like saying, "Oh crap," Saints are in trouble. Like all the people that watched Teddy locally were like, "Okay, like he's a decent to good quarterback, above average, but he's not a world breaker," and you feel like you can win against him. He's been better than that.
I mean, he's got 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions too. So
yeah, but a lot. I think how many of those were last game? I think last game kind of got weird. I thought he was protected, but you bring up a good point, right? But yeah, I just think that he's been good, man. He's been good. Not to take anything from him, but even to this point, I don't think you look at it and say, "What the Saints thinking?" Right? They let Teddy out the door. I just don't.
We'll see in time. Like, look, I mean, he might grow into it, and you missed, but I don't. If I had to bet on it today, I think that Teddy's going to have the career that everybody expects him to have. That he's going to be a guy. He's going to usually protect the football. He's going to have decent numbers. There's going to be seasons where things come together and the numbers look good. But I don't think he's ever going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And I think if you're the Saints with this roster, and again, it's the way it started out, like is not what anybody expected. And so it's easy to look at things right now and be like, but like, we'll see at the end of the year. But like, in that moment, if you're the Saints and you're looking at it, you think 2020, we have the roster. We have one more chance at this. Drew can come back and we can win a Super Bowl with Breeze. You go all in with the best bet. And I think in March of 2020, whenever the decision came together, you have to make the decision to bring it back with Breeze.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't Monday morning quarterback this issue.
Yeah,
right?
Teddy Bridgewater is not Patrick Mahomes. Like if it's Patrick Mahomes, Drew
would have retired a couple of years ago. Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah. And I think I would go for it and say they probably saw Winston as something they could probably maybe develop into something more. And I think they probably said, okay, well, we lose Teddy, but we add Jameson, we keep Taysom. Like, you probably feel like you maybe upgraded there a little bit, if not broke even on some levels. I just didn't. I don't know anyone that criticized the decision at the time, and I still don't think it's fair to criticize the decision.
And look, I mean, I bring up the Taysom thing, like, they paid him, they didn't pay Teddy, like whatever. Like that's probably not even a fair thing to say because there was a good situation that came open, and there were a few of them this offseason, and the option to keep Teddy on ice probably didn't even exist. Like Teddy was probably going to a good situation. he was smart enough not to go to a bad situation, but a good situation materialized. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. And he got paid. I mean, Teddy got his, I don't think it was crazy, but he got more than what the Saints would have gave him, and he got to be a starter. And he's going to play with a guy who runs the same system that Sean runs. So I just think I don't see a scenario for neither side in which he would have stayed the same. And yeah, I just think at the time it seemed like it made sense. And you get the comp pick, right? It was just a lot that went into that decision. And I think you make that same decision again. And and I don't know, man, it's hard to root. I mean, he's a Panthers, right? But like every time I see Teddy run the ball, like I was watching some of them, they were playing Chicago this past week, I think it was. And man, every time he was like getting hit, I was like, "Come on, man, don't hurt yourself again." It was crazy. It's like there's some investment there, but yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that game goes. But I think this is their second division game of the year, and so I think the Saints. I think this is a game that they should win. I think this is a team that they should beat. I think Carolina's 3-2. I think they've 3-2 at this point, or something like that, or 3-3. I forget the exact record. I just looked it up. I'm going blank, but this is one of those games where the Saints need to win. I feel like they need to string some wins together, and kind of fix some of the issues that they had going into the bye. And I feel like this is, a good opportunity to do that. And I don't like you can't lose this game if you have like those Super Bowl aspirations. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
What else we got?
That's it, man.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. I just felt like John. Sorry, I got a text, man. I'm just gonna admit it. Everybody listening to this knows like something just happened. I got a text. I just felt like John Wall in that video that went viral today, like where he was playing spades. Did you see that? He was doing an interview with Field Yates, and he was like playing.
I didn't see it. No,
he was like playing spades, and like Fields like asking him a question, and like John just like asked to look like he hits his books. You know what I mean? Like he tells him how many books he's been. Yeah. He just like he's like, can you repeat the question? But he's totally he's like fading out his cards like on the like, what are you doing, man?
Hey, look, man. I missed that, but I did see you checked out, so I set you up for failure there. But I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, well, maybe he's like looking at pictures of Shireen or something. All right, guys. Well, Underhill just ended the podcast. Listen, the Saints play the Panthers this upcoming Sunday. They got to win this game, and this is a team that they should beat. We love Teddy, but Teddy got to go down this week. So make sure you guys go to NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. Pick a tier that works for you. Go to the site, read everything that's on there. There's an article about what the Saints needed to do after this bye, what areas of the team that they need to improve on. Nick wrote about that. He wrote about Davenport, the effect that he had in his first game back. We spoke a little bit about that. Make sure you guys go check that out. Make sure you guys are following Nick on Twitter at Nick_Underhill. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Kevin Watts Jr. Make sure you follow the official Twitter handle of the NewOrleans.Football website, NODOT Football, and give us a 5-star rating if you're feeling a little charity. So everybody stay safe out there. With that said, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. We out.